Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's study session. We are going to continue our series on three betting deep stack. As you can see, we have quite a variety of different three bets study sessions on our YouTube at slippery underscore rock 99. Part of the study for you poker training community, where we have all kinds of different coaches who provide great video content. But without further ado, let's get into tonight's study session. Big blind, three betting against the button, 100 big blinds deep. And so we're going to take a look at the entire range construction here. Ooh, this is not really a three bet, but somehow it snuck in here. So let's take a look at our entire range construction and see what we're going to be working with today. So deep stacked, we can see that we are three betting lots of pocket pairs, um, pretty much all of the suited Broadway side, um, lots of offsuit kings, aces, queens, and jacks. And then kind of this little boomerang here that kind of goes from these suited connectors and a few suited gappers up to uh, this kind of 10-8 window, and then back down here, down to ace three. So we're going to try and play with a lot of three bet pots in this portion of the tree today. Of course, we will find some three bets with all of this stuff because it'll be in our solution. So should be pretty good. We don't really want to play this call tree, so we're just going to go all in. That works every time. Ace six off. Oops, I have under the gun here on. Great. Turn that off, and there we go. Ace four off. So we took a look. So it's not a big part of the strategy, but how often are you three betting ace four off, 100 big blinds deep?
10% probably, maybe 5%.
Sure. If you answered never, you got a problem.
That's
Because
me.
this, when I three bet this hand, population folds over 40% of the time. So finding this in game, having a blocker to the best value is going to generate a lot more folds than you think. And finding this as a basic element of your game is important. And sometimes you get a great looking flop like this. So, paired board, gonna drive down my sizing generally, rainbow board. Going to make the straight a bigger factor of our draws that want to bet. Ace high has a tiny bit of showdown, but not against better aces, which our opponent is still here with a lot. What do we like for sizings here?
We can go
Do we ever
small.
just play check call?
I was thinking check raise actually with the gut shot.
Okay, so possibly. Sorry, what was that, Reiner?
No, sorry, we're in the big blind. I misspoke.
No problem. Okay, so here's some people wanting to check call or check raise. I definitely think that's a reasonable line, but I think our range is going to want to bet a lot. This hand probably wants to check a lot. Let's take a peek. So when we take a look at ace four, particularly the suited variety versus the offsuit variety, pretty equal in terms of its proportion of betting. I would have thought that the offsuit would have bet more and the suited would have checked more. And we could see that it is doing a fair amount of checking. Sizing up with the clubs. Right, and in the offsuit tree. Diamonds, hearts, less with the spade. Least with the clubs. Just lacking equity with backdoor flushes that they can barrel. Yeah, ace four is gonna be a hand that's gonna be hard to double barrel if we bet. Whereas a hand like 76 is gonna be able to improve a lot, right? Particularly the three suited varieties. They have a lot more cards they can double barrel. So check, very reasonable answer. Ooh, half pot. Who said they wanted to check raise this?
Not to that sizing.
Anyway.
You could still probably do it a little bit. I think you probably would mostly want to call.
Okay,
We
Yeah,
are
I don't
gonna
think-
need, we are gonna need to have check raises here that aren't over pairs. This is probably gonna be one of our best. One of our best candidates,
Is
but
it
I would
gonna-
probably mostly call. I mean, I'm not really advocating it here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does a little bit of it.
If we were going to check raise, what size would you use?
I
Like
think you
that?
would just be clicking, basically. You'd probably be using the 28.4. I don't think you'd be doing anything else.
Yeah, excellent read. So against the big size, use a smaller check raise. Right, to be able to give yourself both the bluffs and value range. So we give it the call and we get this 6. Seeing as it went bet call, we're going to check a lot. And hammer down. Well, our equity got better. We have the ultimate bluff card for the river. I mean,
Yeah, I think we just call. We don't have tremendous supply odds because of the stack size, but I think we call.
I'm
So-
torn.
if you call, are you going to donk jam a spade on the river?
Yeah,
I think that's why you're calling mostly, I would assume.
yeah, probably.
Or you just get that.
Do you donk jam this?
I don't think we, no, I don't think when we have the nuts. I don't
Yes,
think we
you,
donk.
yeah, you absolutely, yeah, we will absolutely be dunk jamming this hand because
I
you're gonna
think this
wanna
is a
dunk.
check. I think this is a check after he bets big into us twice.
So there's only 40 chips here into, 120. It's gonna be 40 into 160. He's gonna have to be right like 1 out of 5 times. So I don't think he's gonna fold very often when we donk.
You don't want his over pairs to,
Check back.
to check back. I think that's why you have to shove.
Yeah, and they're probably all gonna call.
Sometimes he makes a 7, right?
Yep.
And he'll check that back too.
Yeah, there's like, there's a lot of tons, I guess there's a handful of 7s.
Oh, queen 8.
Wow, so he was really going for it there with the no equity bluff on the turn. Effectively no equity bluff on the turn.
Yeah, that's big on that flop with queen 8 and then double barrels the turn. Okay, so if we check, their strategy is 60% jams, 37% checks. Queen 8 is gonna mix up, so we could have captured a little EV here because the stack to pot ratio is so kind of out of whack here because we check raised in a 3-bet pot. There's just not a lot of giving up for him. Right? Weirdly, he gives up with jacks. Checks back jacks, but bets everything else. Very strange.
That could be because that may be one of the hands that we bluff a lot. I don't know.
He requires us to have a jack in our hand a lot here. So. Okay. All right, Queen 10 suited. How frequently are you 3-betting this?
10%.
Do we
A lot.
maybe a little? Like, I feel like there was like, I know we bet a lot of the 10Xs, but I feel like the Queen 10 maybe is one that we bet very little.
Maybe. I would do a majority. Oh,
Ooh.
Take
It
it
is
back.
just a call.
just
And
jack
let's
10.
take a piece.
Yeah, because I know that Queen Jack doesn't raise much, so I thought maybe Queen 10 was the same thing.
Okay, Queen 10's the unicorn here. Right? It's the
Yeah, I
only
didn't think
one
it, I thought it did it, I thought it did it like a sliver, like the King 10, Jack 10, but it's even less than that.
So Queen Jack, Queen 10 make good calls. So they make bad examples to study 3-bet pots. All right. King 9 off. Spicy.
I don't know if we get any 3-bets with this.
Can like, I think all of your offsuit kings bet a little, so it's probably like 5-10%.
I would probably be more inclined to 3-bet a worse king than this. Like this one, I would probably call a lot, but it's gonna have a little bit of 3-bet. And as we took a look at the range construction earlier, it's gonna 3-bet pretty much all the kings that are offsuit down to king 5 at some frequency.
Yeah, and if you want to make that simple, like I'll sometimes like always open a king 6, king 5, king 7, and then call like the better kings.
Yep.
It's a way to just get your frequencies without having to randomize like crazy.
Yep. All right, so we get this ace queen 3. Oh, ace and a queen and a 3. 3-bet. Are we c-betting? If so, how big?
I think this is small and frequent.
Very small. This one checks back though. Let's take a look at why this hand checks back. See if we can try and figure that out. So our range is 60% checking. And
Actually
the-
pretty polar in relative terms. We're betting medium to big a lot.
Yeah, I'm surprised by this strategy when the board appears to be good for the 3-better. And the king X like blocks king queen.
So the button has the advantage on some of the better hand or some of the bottom hands, but then struggles throughout the top of the range. So it
Yeah,
just
this is
wants
a weird one.
to push our slightly better equity against the opponent here.
Maybe it's because the big blind, well, we're the big blind. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the button has a lot of is going to call a ton of ace X, and it's going to make up a ton of its like calling, and queen X, which is going to make a ton of its calling range. And we actually don't have as much of the ace X and queen X as you'd think,
Yeah.
because some of our ace X just calls.
Yeah, maybe you're right. But do you mind putting equity buckets to hands? Let's see what it says.
So that's 2-pair, top pair, under pair. So we have a little bit more of all of this stuff and then more bricks. So our opponent is stuck with stuff that they have to call against our better stuff, but it's beating this huge bucket of trash that we have. Right? So it's a very 50-50 battle, but the board's going to change if we bet and they call. So we will kind of want to keep it wide here, which leads us to less frequently and more big bets.
Yeah,
Right,
so we have
so-
we have a little bit of a nut advantage, but
Yeah.
we don't really have a range advantage.
Yeah, which is why we're very polar here, betting
Yep.
just our best stuff and betting it big. And then having some bluffs here and kind of everything in this bucket. Like the under pair you can see is really checking a lot here. Right? Second pair is checking, third pair is checking, king high is checking, and bricks are betting, right? Are starting to bet.
I
Right,
wonder if
that's
this is gonna be a, oh, sorry for interrupting.
Yep.
I wonder if this is gonna be a common theme for this configuration, because ranges are very wide in this 3-bet pot between big blind and button.
So we give it the check. Wide range against wide range. Ooh. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think we call here. I think we would need backdoor equity or like, we would need more equity. I don't think we have more equity. We don't have enough equity to call this even to this size.
Yeah, this strikes me as pretty indifferent. I think we
So-
fold. I'd fold a game, but I
Would
don't
you-
solve it.
would you call with king 10 here and not king 9?
Oh, I'd call king 10 here for sure, because it's gut shot.
Okay, I like that answer, right? So you can tell king 10 is definitely gonna call or even raise here. Maybe. Yeah, good spot for a just give up. Oh, disrespectful. All right. Ace jack suited. Definitely get a 3-bet.
Yeah, I think a
Definitely gonna
3-bet's
be for
pure.
value. Yeah. Right, so. Find 100% range, always got a 3-bet this ace jack against the button, button's very wide. Opening 50% of range. This is just a value range. You get a wonderful flop.
I don't
Ace
know what to do
low-
anymore after seeing that last strategy. I wonder if
Okay.
we have a high checking frequency across a bunch of boards in the big blind versus button.
So
It would make
If we
sense
think
here, I
of-
think.
if we think of polarizing and betting our best stuff and our worst stuff, this is the third best top pair.
Yeah, I like 18.
So maybe 18, maybe checking here at some frequency as well.
Ooh, no, it doesn't
Not
like
that
that.
big.
Oh,
So what,
And-
so what makes that so much different than, other than the fact that it's a that there is not a, probably the lack of a queen, a second Broadway card?
Let's take a look at the range construction here. So 43% checks, primarily small betting. So we are betting pretty much every combo in range, small at some frequency. We can see there is sizing up with ace, king, and ace, queen, but not really with ace, jack. Right? It's still just bet small. And then let's take a look at the ranges. Equity is in our favor. Sets are their favor. Two pair, top pair, under pair, second pair, third pair, and bricks again. Right, but we are much more dominant even throughout the middle of range here than our opponent. So. Yeah, and I guess our top pairs are just a little better than their top pairs because they don't have ace, king, aces or kings really here, so. We're just pushing the nut advantage. But the line is.
But that's an
equal.
interesting, but again, that's an interesting construction that equities are roughly the same as the ace queen X hand.
Mhm.
We have a something of a nut advantage, yet we're betting really small, which is much smaller on this board than we were on the other board, which is very interesting. But I think that that's probably a function of there's just not as much second pair to target with our big bets as there is here. That
Also,
could be a-
maybe button doesn't have a lot of 2 pairs on this board.
The other thing,
That
the
are,
last
he doesn't
one,
have any unsuited 2 pairs.
was also a rainbow.
Yep.
Right here, it's polarized. Both us and our opponents are gonna have more flush-based interaction. But we give it the small bet and we get a king. King is the magic card for people who 3-bets.
So then we polarize, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Now, I would think that we are looking at sub 18, some 27, maybe some 36. Right? This is a bad card for our opponent because he doesn't have ace king or aces or kings here. So it really pushes the nut advantage for us, which maybe is going to drive down our bet sizing, but I still think it's going to want to polarize here. Half pot
Go
or
in the
three
middle
quarter.
and do 66.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
gotta
one
be
of
honest.
those.
I think we also have to think about SPR here.
Yeah.
So if we bet 18 at 36, 30, 70,
Yeah.
we're gonna have an SPR of 1 on river. So
Uh-huh.
I would imagine it's 18.
It does set up a perfect river jam. But I think I might want to front load for value without having a spade. If I had ace jack off with the jack of spades here, I'd be more inclined to go 18. But yeah.
Okay.
Without the spade, I do want to size up a little bit. So, but let's take a peek and see if the offsuit spade drives down that bet size a bit. So ace jack off, when you have the ace of spades. Ooh, it even pulls a little bit of purple betting in, but it does have some smaller betting. Right? There's a little bit of smaller betting in all of them. So if you do find the smaller size here, it's okay. Oh, uh-oh. Well, our opponent is showing us ace 4 or ace 5 a lot here.
So there's one
This is-
combo of ace 4 and ace 5, I think, right?
This is,
Two, right? Like, oh, yeah, I guess, well, yeah, they don't have the offsuit ones, so only the diamond.
they have a couple of ace fives, a couple of ace fours. They are gonna have some. They will have some, they could have some fives that they trap.
Oh, they have some king high hearts here that they got here with, 'cause they are opening like king 4, king 5.
Yeah, but I don't know that, oh yeah, king 4, king 5, yeah, those would be reasonable. I think
Yeah,
those
they're
might,
different,
I was gonna say, yeah, I was gonna say this felt really close. This felt like you probably fold ace 10. And probably call ace jack. And he had fives.
And he just had 5s. Again, we're pretty high up in range here. Unfortunately. So it goes all right. Clearly just
Sure.
a value raise. Wet board. Locked up equity. Our opponent doesn't have ace king here very much and has to fear us having ace king full frequency.
That's a good point.
I think our ace queens really fit into that range of hands that want to bet really big here. I mean, big in terms of 75% or pot, because these are the hands that really want to protect against another card like either A, killing action, or B, like wrecking us.
Okay. What about playing
I would just
check
go half.
then? The idea of check raising there.
Um,
I don't think it's good enough. Well, I don't know.
I don't think we do a lot of check checking, but I think our
Mhm.
checks are gonna be more trappy checks at all, like maybe the ace, maybe the straights and the sets might trap a little. But I don't think that this hand's good enough to kind of trap.
Okay, on this board, do you think that this is a premium hand or a marginal made hand?
I think it's a hand that's best at the moment, but vulnerable, and that's how I would be playing it.
Yeah, I think we probably have like 55% equity, maybe 60%.
So
I think it's
everyone,
pretty close to marginal made. It's, it's getting down there.
Yeah,
Like, there's
and
so many bad turns in rivers.
yeah, I mean this isn't functionally different to me than aces or kings here.
Mhm.
And I
Well,
think aces and kings would probably be betting like 75 or even pot.
That's fair.
well, kings are much better to me than ace queen because they block the straight.
Well, also,
Right?
yeah, open ender.
And
Yeah.
we're blocking straights. Well, I mean, we're not blocking king nine, but we are blocking ace king. Which we'll call some percentage of the ace king suited, we'll call sometimes,
Yeah,
but
a
we'll do
little
that
bit.
occasionally.
Okay, let's take a peek and then we'll work through the solutions. So just not checking very much. And it is definitely sizing up here. Right? So if you went down the size up alley, very good job. 18, very prevalent. 12 and a half bigs is fine. Even some over betting or betting pot here. So let's take a look at the range construction and see how much of our range is doing this. If we have big sizes with value, we're gonna have some big bluffs here too. Where's our big bluffs coming from?
Ace high, baby. Ace high and king high, probably.
Pocket nines as well.
Anytime you hold a 9 in your hand, you have to consider a big bluff here. 9-6, 9-7, 9-8, pocket nines, 10-9, queen 9, and of course king 9. Yeah, pocket kings blasting, pocket aces blasting, pocket queens, small betting a bunch, checking with jacks and tens, unblocking the other player's blasts. So spicy spot, but yeah, 16% of range checking here, and lots of big bets. All right, so we find a pretty big bet, get a call, gin the turn,
80% of a
Or in.
royal.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we have this, we've got a lock, so I wonder if we ever size down.
I
I think
don't
if
think
we
you
had
said,
bombed. Wait, really quick, if we had bombed flop, I feel like we could find some checks here. Because we bet small-ish half pot, I think we gotta go for another bet. Just don't know the size. Go ahead, Jamie.
no, yeah, no, that's, you literally said what I was just about to say. Because we went half, I think we're going half again.
Yeah, I think when we lock up equity, we're not increasing the percentage.
We're kind of geoing this at this point. Now to
Do
just try to,
we consider down betting here, or yeah, like I think checking even with this. No, there's too many chips to get in.
So that would 24 will get us to 75. I think it's 24, 12. I think there might be some 12 in here.
Okay,
Yeah,
24 is the way to go. Just pretty clearly the right size for this one. Or we could go probably that with most of our range then. That wants to bet.
we're kind of free rolling and there's just so many hands here that have to call that size.
Yeah, 50% checking, 33% is the half pot size. So it's just completely predominant kind of part of the strategy when you bet. And we have tons of junk that's betting here. And then all our aces get to bet this at some point too. But lots of aces find some checkbacks as well. And of course, don't think there's anything to do but stick it in. Oh,
Ooh, no.
that's small. So I guess you want to have some bluffs here. Queen high diamonds.
These plays
So-
always surprise me from solver. I don't really
Yeah.
get them.
And I get this because you want to have some ability to have hands that can fold.
Oh my goodness, to the non all in size, he folds.
Makes the
trip.
hero fold.
Yeah. Spicy. Alright. Ooh, 10-8. Are you ever three betting this?
I think it fits in there.
10% of the time? 10-8 off. That seems really spicy. Let's go. Well, when you three bet at the bottom of your range and get four bet,
You get
it
the
makes a
fold.
pretty easy fold. Just kings.
We were gonna get there though.
10-8 suited.
I
I
don't
think
know if
that
this
that's-
fits in. I think it's slivers.
I think this is actually like a lot of the middle suited connected stuff does a lot. I think this is, if it's not pure, it's very close. Because I know 10-9 is pure, so I'm not sure if 10-8 is pure or if it's just a lot.
So remember our range construction, we're gonna have the suited gappers and the suited connectors kind of all the way up the line along the pairs. And then it's gonna boomerang down to ace three on the suited side. And 10-8 is kind of gonna be the linchpin for the construction here. So we see it going along this boomerang zigzag to 10-8, and then it goes back down on the other side. Right, so yeah, 10-9 full frequency, 10-8 is primarily where it's going to be. This is going to be the hand that we're going to target our idea of what we want to raise with. And then Jack 9 is slivers. So finding a raise here a lot is good. Ace 4-4. Here's a hand that benefits from a little bit of push for fold equity, but want to have a spade in your hand here. You don't block any continues. Maybe we just target the auto folds here.
Maybe. I think if we're gonna bet, I like that size. Let's see this just as a. I could even just see this as like a check give up. Like, we just don't, this hand's just not gonna. I get the idea of betting. I probably would do it in game, but against the sol, I think the solver's gonna want to check this a fair amount.
Okay.
And check our combos that don't have a spade or a heart.
You are right. It is Checkosaurus. A little bit of micro bet to target some auto folds, but it is 10% sizing. I mean, this has got to be disgusting if we fold this. I mean, can we
got
punt off
us.
some chips?
Yeah, I think you fold though. Actually, can you
Mm,
eight?
yeah,
Yeah, I
just-
guess you do fold. Like, it feels really gross, but it's like, I think you would be more. I'd rather have like King X and Queen X is probably going to call pure. I think once you get down to your Jack and 10X, I think it probably just starts to do a lot more folding.
Uh-huh. And this is why, like, really small bets are still effective because we just have to fold 20% of our range to that disrespectful 10% bet size.
Yeah.
And this is some of the trash that we fold.
I just call more Jack X than I thought, but
You miss, always raising for value. King 9-7 rainbow. Draw heavy. King board. How big do you
like-
guys wanna bet?
I like a quarter, could go half, but I like a quarter.
You can get behind both of those. Yeah, quarter and half, a little bit of smaller, a little bit of bigger, a little bit of check. Not really a wrong play here, but primarily betting. On king boards, I'm almost always betting.
Yeah, keyboards you usually could just bet small, not like with the majority of your range.
Ooh, jack nine off. How often are you three betting this, or are you?
In practice, almost never, probably solver probably does it a shred. Cause it,
Quarter of the time.
Oh.
Ooh. That button's pretty wide. We gotta put some pressure on that button. So. Let's take a look here. 15% three bets. So yeah, if you find yourself some jack nine, some jack eight, some queen eight, some queen six, some king six, you're gonna do a lot of three betting here. 15%.
yeah, because it's nice though, like when you open the jack nine and jack eight and you get like queen 10 and queen nine off to fold. It's always nice. Oh, did we get top pair?
No spade. A better kicker, I would definitely want to size up here. Right, in the best but vulnerable category.
Yeah, it kind of is. It's probably pretty close to that 75-ish%.
But I think with this weak a hand, maybe I just want to keep the pot manageable.
Yeah, I can see that too. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, both ideas are valid here. Right? This is going to be one bet and probably going to shut down a lot. This is going to be one bet and probably stack off a lot. So. Oh, a raise from in position.
Yeah,
Ooh.
not much you can ever do here, McCall. I don't think there's any other. I don't think there's any other options here.
Yeah.
Could click him. Alright, maybe not.
Not
I
much.
I think I would be clicking with like the jack of spades. I think the jack of spades might click.
Let's take a peek to see what our click back range is. When we face this, we do have a fairly good click back range, consisting of all the over pairs giving a click back. Then 9-8, 9-7, 8-7, 8-6, king 9. When we have king 9, because we don't have ace 9 here, so king 9, our best king 9 wants to click it back. Spicy ace 4, ace 5 clickbacks. Look at these savage 6 of spades with a queen click back. Ooh. That is spicy. All right. Raise. A little bit of donking here. So this card is probably good for what we continue with.
That's interesting that we would donk this card when we three bet. Because in theory, it shouldn't be that great for our range.
Okay, so we have some two pairs here now. Right, we picked up 7-5 and 7-9 as two pairs that want to bet.
Okay.
And we have some bluffs, Jack 10, Jack Queen that want to bet that way. So, okay. Pocket Queens also donks weirdly. King 6, Ace 6, both donk. Holding a spade. We have a few
More than I would think.
of them. Well. This is a pretty small bet. This death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Start.
I'm just looking at this bet, thinking about putting 15 chips in this pot, and then I'm gonna have to call off 55 on the river.
Is our hinge is because we're gonna have stuff with a spade and stuff with other equity like nines, like some stuff with a
9, 8.
gut shot.
Mhm.
Not like an 8. We're gonna have stuff with an 8 and a 6 and a 2. That I just don't know that I really want to call another bet here without additional chances to improve. Because even a jack, even a jack could be like death if this guy's got like 10-8.
So it's mixing highly here. So this is a
Yeah.
good fold when you make this. For me, when I take a look at this and I see that he's betting this turn card, like I know I have to be committed to putting 70 big blinds in here, or else you're just torching these 15 big blinds.
Exactly, right? Like there's,
Because yeah,
we need to push equity out of position. And if we don't really have much additional equity here and our equity isn't clean, then it's just not really worth calling, in my opinion. Any
yep,
better
set of fours with the 4 of spades. Okay. King 8 saw all the kings horses and all the king's men 3-betting in over and over and over and over again. Again, like king 5, king 6, king 7, a little less king 8, king 9, king 10, but for your range construction, it's good to be here with this hand. Ooh, 10, 10, 4. The opponent's gonna have a lot of 10s that he calls with. Still gonna have some offsuit 10s here as well. This is gonna be tough.
Yeah. Just like we have a lot of 10s, we have a lot of overpairs, like we have a lot of hands with back doors that I would bet before this. We have some 4s in our range. Like I just don't think we need to bet this because I don't think we would be betting this board all that often. Yeah.
Good call. Check back city. If you do bet, there is a little bit of half pot, quarter pot, but yeah, this one really looks like a check back for me. But do we get to fold king high? So let me put it this way. If you have king jack, it's a slam dunk call, right?
Yeah.
Does king 8 still hang around?
Just don't know without the ability to make, we have like no backdoors. And I think that's the thing that makes me want to fold. Like if we had any kind of a backdoor here, I think I would much rather be calling queen 9 off than king 8 off.
Wait, what about king 9 off? Is king 9 off gonna make your call being able to turn the gutter with the queen or the jack?
I think that that's kind of my dividing line, right? I think we have to have some kind of backdoor, any
Or
kind of
even raise
backdoor
it, right?
equity.
King
Yeah.
9 could be an okay raise.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't hate it. But I think we may have, because we're gonna have a lot of we're gonna have some backdoor hearts maybe that I
We
would
do
want to
raise
use
a
before that
lot of
hand.
stuff.
Isn't it
Yeah.
also nice to have either a 9 or jack in our hand?
Hmm?
And I'm thinking king jack better because you can turn open-ended as opposed to it has to be a gut shot if it's king 9. So
Yep.
I still like king 9's. I was thinking the same thing, like the no back door. Like king 8 is just a fold, but Like,
You also have to be careful about like not wanting to block like his like auto fold,
right,
his
Yeah.
auto folds too.
The interesting thing to note about this spot though, is it's 34% raise, 26% call. So it is a spot where we're folding a lot and we are raising as our next most likely option, right? So we're still defending the big blind by check raising here. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of backdoors that interact with this straight. Right, so 9-7, 9-8, Queen Jack, King Jack, right? All of these hands want to get involved with this pot. All the cards that surround the 10. So yeah, King 9, yeah, a little bit if you have the right combo, but mostly letting it go. But
but
King
it's a
Jack,
lot of king jack.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's because of the higher straight equity difference. Well, I mean, plus like a jack is better more often than a 9 is, kind of thing. I guess it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah, I
but-
do think about having overs here is that sometimes you just wait if you spike a king or a jack.
Yeah,
fives, calling our 3-bet. All right, 10-9. Not really a 3-bet. But not really here to play non-3-bet pots today, so let's just go.
We're
all in.
gonna rip.
Works every time. All right, 7-5 suited. So coming up that suited gapper and suited connector tree up to our 10-8. How often are we gonna 3-bet 7-5?
20-30% of the time ish.
it was in the range. It was in the 3-bet range here.
Maybe a little more than that, but maybe 20 to 30, maybe 30%.
Yeah, I'd say 30. Yeah, I'm not brave enough for more than that.
Okay, so thinking of the buttons construction, they are going to be here with suited 5s and offsuit 8s, right? As we remember from our 40 big blind construction, it's still going to be pretty prevalent here. So this suited 7 is going to do really good things targeting their offsuit 8s, right? And their offsuit 9s, which are going to be the bottom of their range. So
This is more.
50% 3-bet. Mandatory that you guys are including this in your game with pretty regular frequency. And that's why we study the spot. Queen 10-3 with a flush draw. Drawer's paradise. Board that is good for our 3-bet range on the value side. Makes me think there's going to be some bigger betting here.
Yeah, I think there will. I just don't think this hand. Again, it comes back to the idea of pushing equity out of position. And 7-5 because it has a little bit of equity, but it's maybe not even clean equity, right? Because the 4 of spades could just be like, could be like a horrendous card for us.
Okay.
So, or the 6 of spades could be a really bad card. So I actually lean check here. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we're betting like this bet's like half or 2/3, a tiny bit, but like I think mostly this is just gonna check. I think this is just too far down in our range.
So I can get behind having a lot of checks with this combo. But if you have a lot of checks, you're gonna have a few spicy big bets.
Yeah, and I've got a lot of hands that are
Oh,
It feels kind of punty, just and like I don't know, maybe I'm just a coward with this kind of stuff, but like we unblock all the value. Like we don't have a heart, we don't have a spade, like we have 7 high. It's just like three bet, we didn't get away with a check fold.
Yeah,
It's
like
just-
we have a lot of Jack X, we have a lot of King X, we have Ace X, like all of those hands are in some frequency going to be much better.
Yeah,
As like-
in this combo, go for it.
Well, and the buttons range includes the suited fives, but also the offsuit eights. And when we combine all the combos of all the of the buttons raise range, isn't there just more on the top end of value that they're going to continue with? Like all the queens, the tens, the king jacks, and like just
So let's-
everything else. Or am I just seeing monsters under the bed, like in this particular situation?
So they're gonna fold their sevens, eights, and nines, which is like, this is probably pretty reasonable. Right now, population's probably gonna fold a little bit more than this. They're probably not gonna find these three bets here down at the bottom. They're probably gonna fold these combos a little more frequently and three betting them. But showing up against this range is probably pretty reasonable. So I mean, they just still do have a lot of auto folds. I think with, king six of clubs and diamonds. Right? King
Right.
Yeah, I will think exploitatively. If you were to tell me you wanted to bet this like as the big blind 25% with your range, you're probably not going to be all that. It's probably not going to be that terrible. Because I think players will just in 3-bet pots will just overfold.
Gross.
So
Yeah.
just to confirm, like I don't want to be scared in these spots, but at the same time, like the solver was 100% check, 100% fold.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay, so that is correct. If
It is
But-
not correct. It is flawless GTO. The award goes to Reiner tonight for for some flawless GTO understanding.
well, no. Like the trick and one of the many countless reasons I'm here is to find where that threshold is, where we can triple barrel with air, right?
Yep.
Because like that, because we got to find that too. Like you're right. If we've got some checks in range, we got to have some bets too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the thing to think about out of position, the general rule of thumb is that you want to push equity. So you want your hands that you are betting to be able to improve.
yeah. I mean, like that's why I think with 7-5 on Queen 10-6, it's just like we have running fives. There is no equity. So
Not a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so we give it a three bet and we get 9-7-3. We have equity. We have the king of spades.
Now this hand will want to bet.
The six of
Now-
clubs can improve. King of spades can improve.
Yeah, now this hand certainly wants to bet. Now it's just a question of do we size up with this hand ever? Or does this hand want to? Do our king of spades hands won't fit into the bigger bet category? Is just what I'm kind of thinking. Like in bigger, I mean like half to 2/3 as opposed to like quarter.
So
Hmm.
I do like the small bet here.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's probably gonna be predominantly what we do, but I can see this going bigger. So because I think some of our some of our big spade hand, our ace X with spades and king X with spades may want to size up.
I think we're gonna have when I see a hand like this,
Yeah,
I see and the board like this, I see a lot of cards that I'm gonna want to double barrel. Right?
yeah,
I'm gonna want to double barrel a spade. I'm gonna want to double barrel an 8, a 5, a 4. Right? So I think there's a fair amount of double barreling. So I'm going to choose a small size here and polarize on the turn when I pick up equity. But that is not what the solver is doing. The solver is just going half pot a lot.
and it'd be interesting to see what the solver is quarter versus half. I assume the solver's quarter pot bets are more value heavy
So
like thin value heavy.
again, he's just doing this with all of the range a little bit, and he's doing this with all of the range a little bit more. What about our specific combo? What were we? King
King six off.
six?
Yeah.
Yeah.
King of spades, six of diamonds, or I think it was six of clubs, sorry.
So
Yeah,
when
so
it
like
has the king of spades, it just wants to bet this medium size a lot. Right? Kind of undecided whether it wants to go big or small.
Yeah, and compared to the last hand, this feels way better to 3-bet, c-bet, because we can put the king of spades to work, and it's also great to have the six. There's just, yeah, like you said, Peter, there's just tons of turn cards that we can continue on.
I think betting that size also, one, it gets stuff like that with some equity to fold, and two, we're check raised less. Cause this would be kind of a crappy spot to like bet
Yeah.
six, get clicked, and then kind of be on the defensive.
It also turns
Ooh,
out we were value betting.
Yeah.
this is a hand that I do not 3-bet very much.
I wonder if this 3-bets at all, actually.
Yeah.
I know there's some ace X stuff that doesn't, like ace 5 doesn't.
Okay, good.
And ace 10 is the same thing, I guess.
I was just thinking, what's this doing in here? All right. Uh-oh.
Oh,
Oh, no.
punt,
Flat. What do you-
Peter
Punt.
punt.
All right.
How
Jack
to read.
9. Gotta get it in there. Let's go. Oh, what a pickle. What a pickle jar. Locked up equity, 3-bet pot, rainbow board. Marginal made hand with a draw. Is this a check back?
This seems like a really nice check raise.
Ooh, check raise from Larry. Spicy. I like it. Checking a lot, betting a little. All right, Larry, you wanted to check raise. How big do you want to go?
I think it's usually a 3x.
Okay, go to 18. It's pretty reasonable. Any consideration to going big?
I'm playing more cash, so I standardized my check raising size, but there might be.
Okay.
No,
Just a call.
too much equity.
Yeah, so this one wants to keep the bluffs in, because our opponent has some bluffs here, and our hand is marginal. So
So now we're
what is
trapping.
it check raising for value here?
Yeah, the Jack 10, Queen 10. Yeah, I thought that like right away. And Jack
So it
10 and
wants-
Queen 10.
It
Yeah.
wants to check raise the straights, sets, 2 pairs, over pair, top pair. So we just have enough better stuff. We don't need to check raise the second pair very much. It still does it a little bit here. Right? Looking at 9-7, 9-6. So it's turning the worst ones into bluffs.
But it's a good instinct. Like Solver really does like pair plus draw hands as check raises.
Ooh. I don't think that's gonna lead, even though it's a really good card for what we like to 3-bet with.
I don't
Opponent
think,
checks back. Well,
I wonder if we get overbets.
my fingers are
Hard to
burning.
know what an overbet's gonna call though. So maybe it's a B83.
I think we bet small here. We either bet small or big.
Oh.
Does this hand?
Also, we don't have the nuts if he slow play.
Um,
Yeah,
trying to
could've flopped
think
it
of.
up.
The queen. Trying to think. I think we don't bet big on this, the four,
Four
the
liner.
four to a straight on a four liner is very much.
Okay.
So it's now just a question of how small do we bet?
Over 21.
Do we sometimes size up because there's plenty of two pairs in this range?
Yeah, we can size up. How many? Yeah, like your jacks could size up.
The bigger we size up, the harder it's gonna be for his two pairs to continue here. And he's gonna only continue with a 6. Like if you want to try and get value from a 6, you probably have to try and pick one of these two sizes. If you want to try and get value from two pair, I think you gotta bet this size. Two pair and sets are still gonna call this size a bet.
I think a
Yeah.
lot of our range though that doesn't have a jack may even want a bit smaller than that. And so I wonder if some of our jacks have to fit into that that 10% range. Because we're gonna have some stuff like 8-7 and 9-7 and 10-7 that potentially like got here.
I think this might be a situation where we're gonna see a lot of betting options available
King
because
eight.
we probably have like 85% equity.
Yeah, I'm torn between like I'm torn. This is either gonna be like a really small bet or like a big bet. Because I think we are gonna have some like 83%
Okay, let's take a look.
targeting. Yeah.
Really, really small.
That's
Huh.
crazy to me.
Yeah, it's just like I would bet this a lot, hoping to get called by two pair.
I
Right?
think that really small size is assuming either a weak range or B that it's going to induce value ownage by the solver.
Yeah, so when we bet this very small size, which is a very big part of our strategy, right? We do have some 83% bets here, no over bets though. So we have some queen bluffs that go this size. Right? Ace queen, ace jack. When we get here, we take that, pocket jacks. The bottom end of the straight, when we have a 6, wants to bet that size sometimes small as well. I guess we still have both ends of the straight. We have the 6 and the jack. So the jack protects our 6s here. So our 6s get the bet for value and our jacks protect it. When we bet this size, what do we get called by? We get called by
80% of range.
42% of range. All the two pairs.
Does he fold out top pairs to the size?
Does he fold out a king?
Nope, it doesn't fold
Calling
out king
all
queen.
these kings.
Yeah, a lot of those kings are two pair though. Like the king 3, king 4, king 5 though, I guess, are all.
Yeah.
King queen, ace king. Looks like he starts raising stuff like his 6s, his 6x starts raising.
Yep.
And that's what I mean about like value ownage. Like he starts to now like raise stuff that we just get to kind of like own.
But if we take the 12 bet size, right now he folds 36%. He's starting to find some folds with king, queen, right? He's folding these hands a lot, right?
Yeah.
Queen, whereas he was calling those before.
And now instead of raising the 6s pure, he's calling them. So we're losing like seven big blinds by like not inducing a bet.
Yeah, when he raises his 6s here, when we bet really small, it's better than him calling our big bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
Just pocket aces. All right. All right, 10-9 suited.
Pure 3-bet.
Ready. Love it.
That's one of those that I'm adding to my game a lot now.
I've already kissed these 88 blinds goodbye. How much do you want to punt off on the flop?
All
6,
I don't-
12?
this is interesting because I don't necessarily think we have to. I wonder if our hand's good enough to actually, sounds weird, our hand's maybe just too good to like. Bet, like I almost want to check, as weird as that sounds. Like
Okay.
a lot of times our really, really good draws want to do a lot of checking.
Take a peek, but
And it could be like, and this could be a spot where if we bet and get. Then we could turn this in, this would be really a sweet hand to turn into a check raise.
oh, this would be a sick hand to check raise. I love it. I do love the idea that you're checking here to check raise because I'm gonna fire that a lot. But it loves your check raise. Or it loves your check.
Yeah, we'll see if it likes to check raise. I'm not positive that it's gonna like want to, oh, just want to check raise over half. I was thinking if he went small, we would check raise.
Okay.
And now do we check raise?
I mean,
Ugh.
so here's the problem. Instead of picking up equity on the turn by improving our draws are only going to complete. But is this a strong enough draw to check raise and then call off a 4-bet or a 3-bet here? For sure it is.
Yeah,
yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
You've
you
got
have
55% equity
yeah,
against
oh yeah,
aces.
you have a straight flush draw. What are you asking about it? Oh, but if you're
Well, the question
dominated
is,
by better flush draw, you're fucked.
against the
Yeah,
big sizing, do we just check
Yeah,
call?
I
here?
mean,
I think maybe this is a call. I think this might have been a
that's
better
a half
check
pot.
raise
That's
of a
not
small
that
bet.
crazy.
Yeah, but he's
The
not gonna
half
have
pot's
it, he's not
not-
gonna have much bigger sizing than this. The button probably won't have any much bigger sizing than like half anyway. Yeah, just a small call.
Yeah, I mean, it
Good.
does. Oh, it doesn't even entertain the raise. I think it's because you're actually. So you have a straight flush draw, which has a lot of equity, but then you're not like, oh my god, straight flush draw, because you're
Yeah.
easily dominated by like straight flush
Yeah,
draw is
we've-
amazing if you get it in like versus a if you get it in versus like top pair to overpair, you love having a straight flush draw. But if you have
We're-
straight flush draw and you're against like the nut flush draw and you're like, fuck man.
Yeah, that's the thing. We could get flushed here, like.
What's
Quite a
our,
bit.
what's our equity with the 10-9 suited?
Oh,
10-9 of
yeah.
spades?
Yeah, I changed it there. So we'll take a look here on the flop
Thanks.
before anything happens. Right, our range is favored. And our 10-9 of spades is looking pretty good. When we look at equity,
49, 46%.
60, 60 up, it's 60% for the
Yeah.
10-9, the
Oh,
spades.
sorry, yeah.
so I mean, it's pretty strong here.
Could part of the reasoning, like, I was thinking check raise too, but because he went so big, could part of the, a big part of the reasoning for call be a bit of pot control? Because if we check raise and click back and then he calls, then we don't have enough chips behind to double barrel, to barrel
No,
turn and river. Or even a
Raising-
river bet is now only half pot. But if we
You can look at the
call and it
EV of-
goes check, check, turn, we can jam river.
you can look at the EV of raising. It's still a very profitable raise. It's just a good call to balance your calling range. 'Cause you want some flush draws in your calling range and some in your raising range. And a lot of the times it's just a balancing act.
Yeah,
But-
and the issue though is that, like, again, when you get piled on, if you get check raised, you're
So,
kind of going with it, but it's not the best because you're gonna be up against the ace high flush draw or king high flush draw some small percentage of the time.
so in that case, like, would ace deuce of spades be a better check raise?
Not sure. That's a good question.
We can hop back to that previous street and take a peek at that.
Well,
When I made him bet the smaller bet, it did start check raising the 10-9.
okay,
Uh,
I'm sorry, I didn't want to take us down the rabbit hole looking at different
Sure.
hands.
it's okay.
Mm.
So here. Ace 3 of spades, which is the bottom of range for us, does, and it is jamming,
Yeah.
right? But it like the small raises are the ace 4, ace 5 as well here
Okay,
with the flush draw, right? So the jam just balances your ace jack here,
right.
right? With the
Okay.
bluff ace 3.
Yeah.
What is like king three of spades doing? King four of spades, king five of spades.
Yeah, they're all just small check raises.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so we get to this turn. Our draw is still pretty strong. Not much to do here, but wait for the check back. All right. Now, equity is complete. How do we get paid?
Beg the guy to pay us. Like, well, you can't shove. I don't think there's any overbets here, or I guess maybe there's a little bit of overbetting here. I don't think our flushes do that very often, unless they're like the super nuts.
Mhm.
Maybe. I kind of want to go like 30-60%.
How
Yeah, I
big do you
think
think?
this is a high frequency, 30%, a little bit of 60% and a little bit of check.
I could
So-
get behind that too.
If you got here with ace 9 or ace 7 with the ace of spades, how big would you want to bet ace 7 with the ace of spades here?
I don't think we ever get here with that hand.
Ace 7 off, we 3-bet ace 7.
Yeah, but
We
but
don't
but 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 I don't
call
think
that,
we ever
though.
take. I think that hand's going to. We're not going to check that hand on the flop very often. We're going to
I don't
probably.
think we check call.
Okay.
I don't think we would be checking ace 7 with the ace of spades. I think we would be almost betting that pure.
Okay.
On the flop.
Alright.
So I don't think we ever have that hand here.
Let's take a peek.
Yeah,
Wow.
it does.
Check back.
Yeah, I'm surprised it does more checking than that. I would assume that we would want to bet.
So this is hoping to get paid 30 chips. This is hoping to get paid all the chips.
Yeah, this is hoping that he has the ace of whatever.
Look at threes. Okay, let's take a peek at the general range construction of that river. And so for us, primarily checking, some polarized big bets all in. With ace 4 and ace 5, the ones that check raised before just go all in with the miss. Oh, because they made the spades.
Yep.
Okay, we have some queen 9, the queen of spades bluffing. The 10 of spades bluffing. Yeah. Yeah, the ones, yeah, we don't have ace 7 here because it doesn't.
Yeah, the ace queen with the ace of spades will bluff.
So bluffs driven by a spade. Jacks and 6s to pair, gross. 10-7 bricked. Right, going for it with bricked hearts.
Is an advantage also to checking that if they do pick up the bet and bet, let's say 2/3 or 3/4 pot, we can just flat without going broke. But if they bet small, then we can decide to check raise pile.
What do?
If-
Just a little more, sorry.
I think if they check and bet like half or 2/3 or some whatever they're gonna bet, I think we're just always jamming that. We're never just calling with a flush here. I think we're always getting the money in.
Yeah, so they're super polarized here. When we check, 25% jamming, 60% checking, there's actually a minority of small bets.
Like, okay, I'm just thinking like in an ICM spot where there's not a ton of value to like check, well, you could check raise pile a small bet, but you would just call a big bet. I don't know if that makes sense, or maybe that's not even correct, but I'm just thinking about life survival in a tournament.
Yeah,
If
you're not gonna have a lot of ICM pressure when you're 100 big blinds deep. So it's
Oh,
generally
fair enough,
something
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
worry
of
about too
course.
much, but
Yeah, okay.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
if we
in
were-
a short, when when we're down to 40, if you're in this spot, like, I mean, that's a different animal too, right?
Yeah, this hand's gonna play differently 40 big blinds than it's gonna play 100.
Queen 8. Is this too low or is this still a 3-bet?
I'm sure it's in there.
Absolutely. All the kings, all the aces, all the queens, all of them love the offsuit 3-bet here. 3-bet. Ooh. I don't think we're checking an ace board very much, but I don't think we're betting it big very often either.
Yeah, this could be. I can see this going a couple of different ways, but probably like a quarter, mostly.
Anyone ever betting
Could-
10% here?
I think our maybe a sliver. I think our 10% are going to be more of the pairs between like the ace and the 6, and some of our 6x are probably going to go 10x, going to go that size. Yeah, does it a little bit. I think our 10% bets are going to be more of that really thin value with maybe a smattering of like just other random stuff.
Lots of the range mixing very equally with 10% and this,
Yeah.
right? So it's just range betting, and it's just betting all of the aces that way, right? Essentially, ace 10 and better, you can size up. And this type of stuff that can make a straight draw with an ace gets to go this size. And then your best kind of garbage here gets to go this size. Okay. So we do give it a little bet, pick up equity. If we had trip aces, how big would we want
Smaller than you think.
bet?
I don't, because when the third spade hits, I don't think you got to go really big.
So 9.2.
Do we even get to go?
Six.
Do
or
we
is it
even
not?
get to go? Do we even get to go that big? Like if we had ace queen here, I don't
What?
think.
I think we're going bigger than that.
The queen of spades.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be like somewhat polarized here, where we're not betting everything. We're gonna be betting some aces, some flushes, and then some bluffs. I don't think we're gonna blast off, but I think we're gonna be betting like half pot.
We'll take. a
Like if
piece.
we have tens with the 10 of spades, are we betting?
Well, tens are a marginal made hand, right? So they're gonna check back a lot. Right? And they're ahead of a 9 and a 6 still, so.
Mhm.
Yeah, so is that to me as a hand that would I think my tens would want to bet small to try to continue to get a little bit of value from the stuff that has a spade in it. And
I'd
maybe
be. I would be more inclined to bet with pocket fives than with pocket tens. But
okay.
let's take a peek. Yeah, Nick had it, definitely gonna size up a lot here. There's some checks, a little bit of small betting. But let's take a look at what these pocket pairs do in this situation.
I could see like tens betting small. I don't think tens would bet this sizing if it's betting, but I think it's mostly a check.
Okay, we're not here with pocket fives, but. A 6 takes this small sizing. Pretty much everything just takes this really small sizing. Right? Just wants to nudge a little bit more money in the pot, like when we have trip aces.
So it looks like
Right.
the queen of so it looks like some of the queen X, king X with probably with a spade wants to bet bigger. And that kind of probably makes up the bulk of our
King of
range.
spades and queen of spades wants to bet big because the king high flush wants to bet big. The queen high flush wants to bet big here. So the
That makes
bluffs
sense.
match the value. And sixes also want to bet big here. Aces don't really want to bet big. So yeah, we can see the line kind of crossing over and over again here. So we have the range advantage throughout the middle, but they have the best stuff at the top. Even though this is a 3-bet pot, so this is strange. They have a pretty significance for about a quarter of the range advantage, but our advantage through the middle is really big.
And that is a function of the button having a lot more ace X in their range than we do. Because again, we flat a fair amount of ace X.
Yeah, after
And
the
the button
flop,
defends, but the button's going to defend all of their suited ace X pure. Or the vast majority of their suited ace X. I don't know if maybe they start 4-betting ace queen. I don't remember.
yeah, they're here with flushes and full houses that are just going to keep us in. And we're here with trips, under pair and second pair a lot more.
Yeah.
So. Okay, we give it the double pump and folds a 6. Nice. All right, let's do 1 or 2 more. Ace 4. Ooh, anyone 3-betting this?
Offsuit side? Yes.
Yeah.
Not the suited side, but
21%. Good job. We flop in the ace. Ace and a jack on board, rainbow. Is there some half pot betting here? Is there some quarter pot betting?
I haven't looked at these ranges in a long time. My guess would be a little bit of small betting and some checking with this hand.
Yeah, I get behind quarter. Quarter seems pretty reasonable, yeah.
Yep.
Does do a fair amount. Kind of all over the place, actually, though.
Yeah, checking, but primarily mixing the two sizes here, half and quarter. So this type of a spot. You can see a very mixed strategy, mixing pretty much every combo. When we check, facing small bets. Our ace four mostly just wants to call. A little bit of raising. Not really check raising ace four here. We're just check raising the better stuff. And then some more trash around the 6. But we see bet and we get a 9. Board is incomplete equity, but becoming much more friendly to people on draws in position. Our hand is struggling. Is this now a spot to check back?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess. I kind of still, I kind of still think we could get value from a jack. We could get value from flush draws.
Mhm.
Like, I think our hand's probably still just good enough to bet.
Okay.
Top-
So I
we're
checked
gonna- Yeah,
at
go
a high,
ahead.
I checked this at a high frequency, not because I think I think we do get a lot of value when we bet this hand, but I think from a range perspective, if we start betting all of our ace X, then we're gonna struggle to have enough hands that can call down when we check.
The other thing is this pot's 36 bigs. Ace four is about a 40 pot. Like you're happy to get it all in, ace four for 40 bigs. But I don't know that you're happy to get it all in for, 200 bigs here. So there is some small betting as a preferential size, bit of medium betting and more checking than on the flop. So looks like it's still going to be a very mixed bag strategy.
Yeah, I think I would be checking this a lot in game against population. Just because I don't think population when they call our flop bet is going to be have a much stronger range than a solver.
It's still betting some second pairs here. It's still betting some jacks. I guess some jacks to pick up equity with the king and the queen. 10, 7 even. So, okay. So this fits nicely into our check back range. All right. Do we get to go for some thin value on the river out of position, or is this a check call?
I
I'm
think when it
always
goes
betting.
check, yeah, I think when it goes check, I think we get to bet like 60%.
Oh, I don't think I'm going that big. I think I'm going 35.
We'll give it a click and we'll take a pick. I gotta be honest. I might check back here with this specific one, right? One of our now 2 worst hands. Probably go for value with ace 5 or better. But it is going for
Oh, it's going to
value.
be even bigger than that. Wow. Okay.
Everyone's wrong.
How dare you check back on the turn, it says. Okay.
That's trying to get, yeah, so that's trying to get max value from,
Yeah, villain has to be super capped.
yeah, I mean, that's trying to get max value from a queen or whatever second pair, I mean, a jack.
Yeah. The jack or the 9 even. Right, when we
Yeah, I
take
don't know,
this
do the
size-
nines, I don't know if the nines call that size. Would a nine, is a nine calling?
Second
I
pair,
guess so.
Jack mostly calls, a little bit of the 9 calls. A little bit of the 6 call versus that is. I mean, population will show up with some pretty wide calls here on that bet check bet line. So I think it's pretty realistic to expect people to call with a jack. So it's a nice size on that river to get some value.
Yeah,
But I mean,
yeah, right, yeah, it was the right idea. I think, again, I think that's a population thing, where I think if you go that big, a lot of that jack X.
when you go that big though, I also don't think anyone raises these hands.
Yeah,
7, ace 8, ace 10, ace queen. Like no one's raising these. They're all calling it.
Yeah,
So if you lose, while you lose value from jacks, you also don't get raised by a better ace here ever.
yeah.
I think that's okay. Alright. Ace 7 off. Love the 3-bet. Let's go. Super wet board. No spade in our hand. So 8s, 10s, ace. We have some barrel cards, but not a spade.
I think without a spade, I don't think we get to bet this. I think we have to have this ace spade in order to bet here.
So if I had a spade, I'd be more inclined to turn it, like if I had the ace of spades, I'd be more inclined to turn this hand into a check raise. If I check here, I'm probably gonna have to give up, so I'm gonna wanna bet here.
Check folding.
Let's take a peek. 99.9% check. All right, double checking chickens.
I'm still check folding.
Flush completing, not great for us. Not holding a spade. 3 doesn't change anything. Our opponent's gonna have some marginal made hands that are gonna be able to call a small bet in position pretty easily. Kind of get behind it.
It does want to bet a little bit.
It does probe the waters. We get to the river, no spade, marginalist of showdowns. Is this
Spade
gonna be?
river?
Yep, runs out spade, spade, spade.
I wonder- God, I wonder if you
Probably
just,
betting.
I wonder if you just have to go for it now.
Betting like half pot.
Yeah, third or half. I think
I
either's
was- Yeah, I was gonna, oh. Okay.
Sorry, what was that, Reiner?
I was gonna say bet small, but, like, I was gonna go 8.5 to be honest, but this feels like a run where it's just the first guy to show interest wins the pot.
Yep. Yeah, and so the motion here is just bet small, right? It doesn't really matter which one. Even if you bet big, it's not that bad. Right? It's a very thin spot. Calls us down with second pair, no spade, greedy. All right.
And that's, I was like trying to get this hand to fold when I size up.
Thanks for checking in, everyone, and watching this study session. Remember to check out all of the other great content we have on YouTube. And if you have interest for future study session material based on range construction and where you guys want to go, put it in the comments and we'll be glad to take a look at that. Thanks for checking us out.